So I think its duty is to inform, educate and entertain with complete impartiality. And the key word is impartiality. And as a national monopoly, if your charter says that's what you should do, that's what you should do. And we have written basically to the BBC today. We've posted that on X. And we've written to Ofcom as well. And ultimately, you know, we don't think this is right. It's not the way in which the BBC should behave. I don't think any reason is justifiable, quite frankly, given what I call the bent Survation poll, which is not reflective of what's happening on the ground. I can tell you, we are in the race. We're in it to win it.
Many people in this country feel so left behind that they're looking for what they perceive to be the highest octane propellant to throw at the political establishment, right? Like that is totally understandable, certainly to me.
That's why Alex Phillips's attacks haven't any cut through, because she's saying it's the political wing of the manosphere. When you're having Nigel Farage's mistress also interviewing Nigel Farage's current mistress, while Nigel Farage's third mistress is making up stuff about Restore on Twitter, and, well, none of them have intact marriages and one or two of them don't have children of their own. It's just, it doesn't land.
With Britain a tinderbox and the political situation completely untenable, there is a real groundswell towards not just Reform UK, but Rupert Lowe's Restore Britain. And this decision by the British Bashing Corporation to exclude Rupert Lowe's party from Question Time has totally backfired. So we saw on the night Andy Burnham announce that he will run for Prime Minister. But of course, the biggest elephant in the room was summed up very nicely by Oliver Lewis, who posted this image. And it was totally true, completely true. And even the BBC were unable to hold to their line of pretending that Restore Britain is completely irrelevant in the Makerfield race. So I want to show you by starting how they introduced the big news bulletin immediately after that Question Time special without Restore on the stage.
Hello to you. For the first time, the leading contenders in the Makerfield by-election in Greater Manchester have appeared together debating the key issues before the vote, which takes place exactly 2 weeks from today. 5 of the candidates sat down together for a BBC Question Time special before a television audience with trust in politics, as well as the controversy over the death of Henry Novak, 2 of the main talking points. It is seen as one of the most consequential by-elections of recent times, with the outcome potentially affecting the future of Sir Keir Starmer as Prime Minister. And tonight, Andy Burnham confirmed what many had expected. He will run for the Labour leadership if he wins.
So Clive Myrie pretending that Restore Britain doesn't exist. The problem is, at that moment, a new poll dropped, the second Makerfield by-election poll. And even though Rupert Lowe believes that this Survation sampling is wrong, look, it still shows Restore Britain rising 1 point in 3rd place. Now, the other people who were on that stage, the Greens, the Lib Dems and the Conservatives, polling at 2 or 1%. So, of course, as the BBC's news bulletin went on, the political editor, Chris Mason, had to mention Restore Britain. He couldn't hold the silence, but he did that ludicrous thing of pretending, oh, no one knows this party that I'm talking about. Watch.
As far as Reform are concerned, they are clearly competitive, no doubt about it, and Labour are keenly aware of that too. Reform, though, are aware of a party called Restore Britain, set up by a former Reform MP, perhaps nibbling away at some of their support. So Reform emphasising that they see this absolutely as a 2-horse race. There is no doubt about it, Clive. Superlatives are often used in a misplaced way in politics. This by-election is absolutely huge and has implications for all of us.
Chris, stop patronising us. We know exactly who Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain is. Rupert furious about this on Times Radio.
So I think its duty is to inform, educate and entertain with complete impartiality. And the key word is impartiality. And as a national monopoly, if your charter says that's what you should do, that's what you should do. And we have written basically to the BBC today. We've posted that on X. And we've written to Ofcom as well. And ultimately, you know, we don't think this is right. It's not the way in which the BBC should behave, and it's a breach of their charter. So look, you'll have to ask them why they didn't ask us. I've no doubt they'll come up with some sort of some reason why, but I don't think any reason is justifiable, quite frankly, given what I call the bent survation poll, which is not reflective of what's happening on the ground. Well, I see the canvassing returns each day, and I can tell you, we are in the race. We're in it to win it. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
What's ironic here is that what the BBC are doing is actually playing into the hands of Reform UK, who have admitted this week, Zia Youssef actually admitted on stage that he understands. I mean, this was honest of him, understands why Restore is surging.
Many people in this country feel so left behind that they're looking for what they perceive to be the highest octane propellant to throw at the political establishment, right? Like that is totally understandable, certainly to me, right? And you know, my response to that is that, look, I've dedicated my life to trying to be one of those propellants, at least. And you know, Nigel Farage has dedicated his almost entire adult life to these issues. And there is one party and one political leader capable of delivering the thing that you want.
But Conor Tomlinson summed up the problem with Zia Youssef, writing, Zia Youssef demonstrating yet again he is one of the few members of Reform with enough political acumen to foresee that estranging the base and softening on immigration rhetoric could cost the party everything. Unfortunately, he didn't foresee that before filing a false police report against Rupert Lowe, causing Restore Britain to exist in the first place, which is completely true. Then you get to the Alex Phillips position on this. And, you know, I put Alex Phillips' position directly to Rupert Lowe this week. I've had conversations with her afterwards. But this position is that there is a big conspiracy going on. It involves Russian bots. It involves a plan to get the Conservative Party back in power. And Rupert Lowe is some type of stooge in that. But Basil the Great revealed that the Lotus Eaters have found that a number of accounts supporting Restore Britain and Alex Phillips, who Alex Phillips claimed were bots in a report, have actually turned out to be accounts run by British people. And Connor spoke about this on the Lotus Eaters.
Smear, because it's one step away from them being incels. This is the incel party. It's like, no, this is the mum and dad party, actually.
Well, that's why Alex Phillips's attacks haven't any cut through, because she's saying it's the political wing of the manosphere. And it's like, I'm sorry, one, I'd throw Andrew Tate in prison because he's a pornographer. But two, most people are just like married with kids.
Yes.
And when you're having, and I'm sorry to take it to personal attacks, when you're having Nigel Farage's mistress also interviewing Nigel Farage's current mistress, while Nigel Farage's third mistress is making up stuff about Restore on Twitter. And, well, none of them have intact marriages and one or two of them don't have children of their own. It's just, it doesn't land.
No. And Farage conceded this at the ARC conference in 2024 when he was there, didn't he? He was like, oh, family, community, country. I appreciate I'm not brilliant on those things.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, okay, you're not. But the point is, no, it's not an incel party. It's a mums and dads party. And we've had enough and we don't care anymore, which is why the posters are going up.
Now, Alex is very angry about those claims, especially in regards to what Rupert Lowe said to me earlier in the week. Watch. Is there any secret deal with the Conservatives? Does Restore want to see the Conservatives back into power? And do you have these daily conversations with Kemi Badenoch, as Farage's close ally claimed?
Well, absolutely not is the answer to that. And neither Lois Perry nor Alex Phillips, as you know, I was in the European Parliament with Alex, both of them are close, if not too close, to Nigel Farage and have historically been so. So, you know, they aren't in a position ready to act as what I would call independent commentators on the subject. But the answer on the Tory party is definitely not.
Now, Alex insists that that is a misogynistic approach from Rupert and denies anything inappropriate. She says she is in this for the country. And that's why she claims she has released what she has described as the plan. And she says it is about as dirty in politics as it gets. Now, I've asked Alex numerous times to come on Outspoken, to debate Connor directly, to have this conversation. She has declined those requests. She says she doesn't speak for Reform UK. But on her Substack, she said, I have been appraised of leaked documents related to a master plan, a plan which, for the sake of the nation, must be derailed. First off, for legal reasons, you will not see these documents, at least not yet. Whether they surface at all is not my call. Were it up to me, and were I able to, I would leak the entire thing. But they are not in my personal possession. The convoluted by hook and crook process just to get someone's eyes on has felt rather like being in a Dan Brown novel. Remote locations, transfers of security bonds, a timer for how long the document can be seen. In order to protect this chain of release, I cannot say much more. People involved in its leaks would be outraged, possibly endangered. The guardrails would come up, the plotters would double down. But what has been relayed to me by the operative who did manage to access said files was an extremely well-wrought manual outlining the governance of Britain under a newly branded Conservative Party. Now, she says that Rupert Lowe features in this document in a symbolic way, without an elected position, but with an ever-present hand of control. She says the 12,000-page file talks about reform in the past tense. She says there's no mention of Farage, but she says the plan is already in motion. It reaffirms what I had already worked out. Restore Britain is a PSYOP spoiler designed to crush reform support to below the majority for forming a government. By doing so, Farage would face a grim choice: allow a socialist coalition of doom, or allow a merger with the Conservatives for the country's sake, the price of which would be his own political career. Now, Connor Tomlinson, firstly, obviously I wish Alex Phillips was here and we could have that debate. And we don't need to make this personal, because actually this is about the claim that she has made in regards to Restore Britain being some type of PSYOP. Now, how do you respond to what she has or claimed, I guess, on her Substack in regards to what she describes as the plan?
Well, I don't see, first of all, Dan, why not being an official spokesperson for Reform UK would prohibit Alex from coming on your show and trying to back up these claims, because I'm not an official spokesperson for Restore Britain either. I just am broadly supportive of what my close friends for years are trying to do, even if the party is fledgling and hey, makes some mistakes. And hey, even on your show, I've been critical of them, so don't see why that would stop Alex, nevertheless. If you're going to try and accuse the party of being some grand conspiracy, perhaps don't make your first post so full of errors that everyone can pick it apart. So she got the wrong donor, the wrong Agnew, first of all. She said it was some sort of Tory lord or something. It was actually his brother. She cited to a Sun piece that cited anonymous Tory sources that said, well, we offered Rupert Lowe the whip, but he kept saying no. And then there was another piece, funnily enough, that she didn't cite to, but it was put out a few days after by Christian Calgie, who's, of course, been writing lots of hit pieces on Restore. He's been following Reform around on the campaign trail. It's a shame, I quite like Calgie, actually. Nevertheless, he actually spoke to a Tory source, and they said, yeah, the Tory party were trying to court Rupert into the party to spite Reform, but Rupert kept politely declining, because he wants to maintain good relationships with other MPs, despite being a different party. But they tried to give him that committee assignment, and then he took it anyway and set up Restore. And they actually said, there's an anonymous Tory MP said in there, there would be a mass revolt from the backbenchers if Rupert were ever given the whip, and Kemi knows that. So the entire Tory party would flip their lid if Rupert Lowe were allowed in, because Rupert Lowe has promised to do things like, I don't know, ban all legal migration from India, which is territory that Priti Patel, shockingly enough, or the party led by Rishi Sunak, would never go to. And then there's this accusation that she's got a 12,000-page document that proves definitively that Restore is a Tory plot. Now, knowing Rupert, knowing all the lads working around Rupert, that's not the case. I mean, don't forget, Harrison Pitt is the policy chief for Restore Britain. Harrison and I used to have a podcast where week after week we were analysing the Tory leadership race and reform, and we kept saying that Kemi Badenoch is an anti-white racist because she used the word white as a pejorative against David Tennant and her university friends. And she made her career as, yes, the person who hates critical race theory, but her entire framework was, well, if the Tory party were racist, then I wouldn't be so high up, with the implication being that the Tory party needs to have DEI to promote Kemi Badenoch as the leader, otherwise they would be racist. Being clear, none of us ever want to see the Conservatives get into power again, either in the Conservative Party or in Reform, given some of the people pushing these lies are Nadine Dorries, Boris's own cheerleader, who crafted the Online Safety Act and
excused the Boris wave and said when she came into reform, maybe we should bring Boris in as well. So doesn't have much standing up. But the last thing I will say is as well, I mean, I have a suspicion where some of these sources come from, they'd be quite a vindictive place. Nevertheless, if your sources genuinely just trust me, bro, I am in possession of a document that you can't read, but I'm going to vaguely summarize here with implication and suggestive language. And I'm just going to insinuate that Rupert Lowe is a Trojan horse